Okay, hello everybody. I wanted to do a part 2 tonight, not as long as the other night, but it's important what I'm about to share with you. Just bear with me, I forgot my glasses. Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to talk about the cars tonight, things that we found, not speculation or sitting in the armchair and throwing theories out there. This is legitimate information from 2001 and 2002. We'll start with this car. The last person and vehicle Nima was seen in. This car was purchased in Victoria in mid-January 2002 for $1,700 apparently. Victorian registration again. Two people have now come forward and have seen this hearse in Bathurst before it headed back to Melbourne after the Nima situation. So these guys were in Bathurst and one lady was from Kelso. So for whatever reason they come into Bathurst, whether it was 4 days a week, we're not sure, but the lady did say she saw the car go up and down her street all week. So we know that they went into Bathurst. Pardon me. Also know that these boys went back to Victoria. In particular, another gentleman, I can't name him here now, I just can't. It's crucial, I can't name him. But it's to do with the red car. And I know, in writing, he returned back to Melbourne just after the Janine thing, was the exact words. This is from a person that's related to this gentleman. So I believe the three guys went back to Melbourne just after the Janine situation. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how these guys operated from what I could work out. When they're ready to leave a town for a new location or a state or go back to Melbourne is when they struck. And then they hightailed out of town, as you would after doing a horrendous crime to a person. They don't hang around for a week or two in the town. Why would they? No, they go straight back to Victoria. By the time the alarm's raised, they're kicking back in Melbourne. And we don't have number plates. All we've got is description of the vehicles, but they're good descriptions. And this one keeps coming up, and the little red car. So I firmly believe the red car went back to Melbourne 2001 for Chrissy. Whatever happened, Garth ended up with it because both this car and the red car turned up at Catherine Grosvenor's location where she was murdered and weighted down in the Burley Griffin Lakes. And 6 days later she surfaced and the canoeists found her. I won't go into the details, but it wasn't nice. From there, as I said to you in the last video, they arrived at Batlow in the one car. So that red car in between Catherine Grosvenor's crime and Batlow has gone. And hopefully the police can establish what happened with that car. And also the police should be able to establish all the cars registered to these gentlemen from 1994. I say 1994 because Garth met Jason Jack fruit picking in Orange, in fact. That's stated in writing. So they met in 1994. Of course, we know what happened to Gordana not long after that. I believe that car, the white dual cab ute, was theirs as well. And once Gordana went missing, they were gone. They had finished their business in Newcastle and hightailed out of there. This is exactly what they did at every location of every crime. They're packed up, fruit picking season's over, or they've finished their business in that particular state, They go and do this, hide the body, go back to Melbourne, and once the alarm's raised, it's too late. I mean, they're gone. We're looking for a car, no number plate, obviously. We're looking for a white car, red car, whatever. I mean, there's thousands of them. I'm pretty sure the police went through hundreds and hundreds of different vehicles, but without registration, they were never going to find them. And that's how they got to do this and not get caught. Pardon me. Yeah, so I believe the little car, once we establish it, was that little hatchback. Bear in mind, the one I believe that was involved, we still can't get the year and the style it was, whether it was an Astra or a Barina, because that gentleman is not forthwith anymore with anything. And he's not in Australia anymore either. So I wanted to share that with you. And also, I can find it. I'm just doing all this at the spur of the moment, at the top of my head. Yeah, no, it's not here. Yes, I just wanted to share that with you tonight. That's how they operated. They finished their business in a particular state and town they were in. Went out late at night, girl on their own, vulnerable, away from the hub of town and people and everything. And it doesn't matter whether she's going out buying clothes, going out for a packet of cigarettes, which was Catherine's mission that night. She went missing. She went either a pub or a club or somewhere to buy cigarettes and vanished. And then of course they found her 6 days later. And remember the description of the car. Now there's two descriptions of the black car. One was a black old shiny Holden with long sides, and the other one was a black ute. Now I don't know if these people that saw this were doing 60, 80 kilometres an hour as they went past, but nonetheless they knew it was a Holden. And the description they give was even better, and it's these two guys, I believe, in the 4 crimes. I mentioned there's 3 other ones that there's no witnesses, around when these young ladies went missing in 2001 and in 2002 in New South Wales, out west. And I believe a young lady found last year, just by accident. She was a backpacker. She was from Melbourne. She walked out of the hostel and said, I'll be back later to get my things. Was never seen again. This is in 2001. I think it was April last year, the police were in the bush in the Blue Mountains looking for something else on another matter, and they stumbled across her skeleton and found her. So, yeah, so these especially Jack, is a brutal person, and also wanted to share with you in Queensland when he committed suicide, government records will show he had no handcuffs on him, and I still don't know why they took the handcuffs on him. He just raped a girl. But when there was an inquiry and or inquest into his death, the 2 detectives either lawyered up or just didn't attend the hearing for fear of incriminating themselves. I just wanted to share that with you. So yeah, so that's the story with the cars, and I believe that's how they worked, and that's how they flew under the radar. And once they got back to Melbourne, they were swapping cars all the time, just cheap cars. Whether or not they kept the registration in their name, we don't know yet. The police can find all that out. But I think we're through the looking glass now, and I'll post a bigger part 3 in a few nights with some nice information that should convince you that these guys are the perpetrators of these crimes. And it's evidence. It's all police sketches, witnesses, and you line all the photos up from 94, 95 to 2002, and it's the two same guys. So, yeah, I'll do that in a few nights and divulge a few more things, but I just wanted to tell you that's how I believe they operated. Ready to leave the state or go to a new location. He got his urge to do what he does, and he did it. He didn't care. Once he found a woman that was vulnerable, a young lady that was vulnerable, whether it was in the street with houses or whatever the situation, he did it. Just grabbed her. In some cases there was screaming and a bit of chaos the neighbours saw and come out, and that's how they identified the cars, at least in one of the cases anyway. But yeah, I've no doubt that these guys were regulars off and on in Bathurst for whatever reason. Newcastle, I know Jason had a considerable record by the time he was 22 in South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales and Perth. In fact, the lady went missing under similar circumstances. A young lady, vulnerable, late at night again, walking the streets on her own. No one's seen a thing, no one heard a thing. And I've asked the police if they can, in Western Australia, if they can check if he was there, whether he drove or took an aeroplane, trying to establish if he was there in those months prior and during and after when that young lady went missing. I believe there's more. I can't prove it. I know this was an 8-9 year journey for this guy, and Rain and what he did. And to do what he did in Queensland, a 12-hour stopover on his way to Cairns, and followed that uni student home and did what he did to her, and that was just a stopover in broad daylight. It just shows you where his mind was at, and yeah, how much of a predator he was and how vicious he was. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame he wasn't handcuffed, because he jumped off the building, and as I said to you in the last video, took the locations of these girls. I'm hoping one day somebody is a bird watcher or a hiker or a nature lover, landscaper, and they're out in the bush somewhere off the beaten track and hopefully come across one of these girls. So I think that's the only probable theory if they're ever going to be found, unless this one particular gentleman that I can't mention does fit into this. How much so we don't know, but he's one of the last two, I believe, living witnesses from Bathurst in 2001. So it's of course all with police now, they've got to do their thing, but yeah, I'll bid you all good night, and yeah, have a look at this clip tonight and see what you think. It's not rocket science, it really isn't. I mean, there's theories about handbags and taxi drivers and policemen and a whole variety of things that are still talked about today. And rightly so, they're crucial bits of information, but this is the meat. This is the meat of what happened, what we found. And as I said, these guys were back in Victoria before Christmas Day. In fact, the exact words were not long after the Janine thing, so, you know, food for thought there. But the police are going to have to establish everything beyond all reasonable doubt. And yeah, hopefully they're doing that now as we speak, because it needs to get sorted out. Even if they find out it's not actually correct, and they can still give the family answers. But I believe beyond all reasonable doubt that these guys were the perpetrators, one in particular. We know his friend always covered for him, lied for him, and under questioning was calm, vague. In fact, Jack was a specialty for that. Just come across as a calm and collected person. Yeah, quite bizarre. Very, very tricky person. Anyway, I'll bid you all good night. Enjoy this and let me know what you think. Leave a message or two. Oh, before I finish, for the people that attacked me today, and for the women out there trying to get my phone number and information and various other things, don't bother. This is about the girls. I've got no interest in talking to anyone. The media, 15 minutes of fame, nothing. In fact, I've blocked all you people, and what we've got now is an electronic paper trail. So just be wary of that when you do things like that, and start attacking people and with no evidence. It's just stupidity. There's no need for it. Let's concentrate all our energy on what we've got, which I think is a plausible theory now, and look into it and establish it, prove it, and then the family can get some answers. I mean, we might know where the girls are, but yeah, these guys did it. I'm sorry, and it's one or two questions that are answered. Yeah, but no doubt the girls are out there somewhere. I don't know. I would love to find them. I've been looking at Mount Panorama, various other places of interest with my dog and Jessica, and we found one spot. She targeted one spot, and it was animal bones, just a small animal that was buried a long time ago. But nonetheless, she found it and let me know there was something there, and I've got photos actually somewhere of me digging it up and pulling the bones out. So she's good for that sort of work in the fields and that. And when I do go out and do this and look for people, she comes with me. She's an invaluable resource. Just got a nose from hell. Yeah, she's half Labrador, half Hungarian Vizsla. She's fantastic. But anyway, that's enough about that. I will see you in a few nights with some other credible, real information. And hopefully, over the 3 or 4 parts, you guys can put it all together and you'll start to understand why I'm doing this and why I'm pursuing the government to light a fire under it. I believe they can establish this very fast. Couple of detectives, give them a few months, give them an office, give them a free reign of all the information. Don't bother them, let them do their thing. And I guarantee you they come up with something positive in relation to everything we found. So with that, good night.